Your company's proxy statement includes a lot of information about the compensation paid to your executives, in particular, their equity awards. As the record keeper for those equity awards, this means that you have a lot to contribute to your company's proxy statement. In this video, I'm going to offer 4 tips for how you can add value to your company's proxy reporting process. My first tip is to raise your hand and ask to be included in the team that is responsible for preparing your proxy statement. It is hard to contribute to a process if you don't really have any idea what's going on with that process. Also, somewhere at your company, there is a time and responsibility schedule for the proxy report that lists out all the tasks that go into preparing that statement and who's responsible for them. And I would bet, as the holder of equity plan data at your company, that your name is on that schedule somewhere. So it's helpful for you to get a copy of that schedule so that you know what you are responsible for and when. All right, let's look at tip number 2. Tip number 2 is to educate yourself. And I really have 3 areas to focus on. The first you probably already have covered, which is to be familiar with your company's equity plans and with the equity awards that are granted to your executives. There's a lot of information about those awards that is going to go into your proxy statement. And so it's helpful if you know what those awards are and how they work. The second area to focus on is what the disclosure requirements are for your company and how they apply to your company's equity compensation arrangements. So this means understanding all the information that goes into the various tables that will be in your proxy statement, but also don't forget about the narrative disclosures and the footnotes to those tables. There's a lot of information in the footnotes that can sometimes be easy to overlook. And then my third area to focus on are the resources available to you, particularly in your record keeping platform. What tools are available to help you with your proxy reporting? There's no need to build this whole complicated spreadsheet if there's a series of reports that will just spit out the data for you. All right, tip number 3 is to be able to tie out all of your data. There are a lot of numbers that will go into all these various tabular disclosures, the narratives, the footnotes, and some of those numbers are not so easy to calculate. So it is critical that you know how you calculated them all. Keep a record of the reports that you ran for each table and any additional calculations that you might have done in a spreadsheet, so that later on, if you get asked about it, you know how you came up with all the various numbers. It also can be very helpful to reconcile those numbers to an independent source. For example, your Section 16 filings. That can help you spot errors or discrepancies that maybe need to be addressed. And then my 4th tip is to think ahead, because you only have one chance all year to submit plans to your shareholders for approval. So forecast out your share usage for the next couple of years. Check to make sure you don't have equity plans expiring in the next couple of years, so that if you need to include a proposal in your proxy statement to address these situations, you can do that. It is helpful to get out ahead on some of this stuff by a couple of years, so that if you submit a proposal this year and it doesn't get approved, you still have an opportunity to regroup before you are out of time and out of shares in your equity plan. So those are my 4 tips for adding value to the proxy reporting process. If you are looking for a way to educate yourself on proxy reporting, the NSVP has a fantastic course on reporting equity compensation in your proxy statement. We'll include a link in the show notes. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you're notified when we post new videos, and it helps us out too. Win-win. Thanks for watching.